What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal.
Opinionated, outspoken, informative. The Jaguar Journal. Your source for the latest information on Southern University sports and SWAC athletics. A Baton Rouge sports talk tradition.
All right, bright and early on a Saturday. It's a little chilly out there, but nonetheless, we are here for another exciting episode. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning, everybody. I am Perry White, my man Mike behind the board. And Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everybody out there, man. We are getting to that point of the year, the end of the year. How about that? Didn't it just seem like we were getting started talking about football season? It was hot. We were going to barbecues, crawfish boils. We were hanging out outside. We were doing all of that stuff, but we still hanging out outside. This is South Louisiana. It was 80 degrees this past week. Just warm, and I love it. But nonetheless, man, it just seemed like 2024 was just in a snap of a finger, and here we are. And nonetheless, man, I appreciate you guys because over the past year, Mike and I have been revamping this show. We have been doing different things with it. And shout out to Mike with everything he's been doing because we got a new system here with our online side, with the social media side and everything else, man. He's been putting in the work, helping to grow this brand of what we've been doing. This was specifically and totally and only, I got a lot of words for you, a radio show. But, from 7 to 9, everybody's not able to wake up at 7 o'clock. Everybody don't want to wake up at 7 o'clock on a Saturday after a week of work. And I totally understand. And so, I would be out. People would say, Perry, man, I didn't catch the show this morning, man. Or I caught the last 30 minutes of it. I caught the last 15 minutes of it. Where can I go back? We had to find a way to evolve what we were doing with the times. The times have changed. Now, we still enjoy being right here on radio because the fact that radio gives you an opportunity to get to listeners that don't necessarily have to click your link, that don't necessarily have to click your page. There's plenty of people out there, thousands of people out there across the Baton Rouge capital city area that listen to this show and don't have any affiliation to Southern, the SWAC, HBCUs, or anything, but they're curious to listen, to learn, because the station that we on, Talk 107.3, it's Talk 107.3. The name of it is Talk. And if you ever listen to any of the, I know for the people who listen on YouTube and the people who listen on social media who don't get a chance to actually listen on the radio side, man, you got shows like Dave Ramsey, you know, teaching you financial literacy. You have political shows that run through and through right here on this station. So this station is an informative station. So it is great that we on this station because it's a station that people tune into to get information. You specifically want information if you tune in to 107.3. No music. Mike, I don't think not one single song except for that commercial you heard that they put Rocking Around the Christmas Tree. They put it in Spanish. Is it Feliz Navidad? I'm saying, is that Merry Christmas? Oh, yeah. Feliz Navidad. But that's for the people that's out there, you know, that listen to us on social media and listen to us on our YouTube channel. And we appreciate you guys. Listen, the YouTube subscribers are constantly going up, and I appreciate you guys. Thank you. We love you. We're putting in some work. We're trying to do something, right? Support us as we do it. And I always say the quickest way to support us, go to that link on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, type in the Jaguar Journal on YouTube. I'm pretty sure you subscribe to a lot of stuff you probably don't even watch. I'm subscribed. Hey, I be watching chiropractic videos. You know, we all got our little thing, you know, that we watch. I like fishing videos. I watch all type of crazy stuff, you know, whatever. But go on there, hit that subscribe button. That way you get the notification once Mike press that button. It say YouTube, Jaguar Journal is now live. And the same way with our Facebook page, man. Now we're on Instagram as well. Do we get X up? We're on X. We're on Instagram and X. I think Instagram is the Jag Journal. What is it on X, Mike? Jag Journal 1073 on X, man. Look, we expanding. We just Facebook now. We the Jag Journal on Instagram and the Jag Journal 1073 on X. And, of course, you know, we got our Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal. And then on our YouTube channel, it's the Jaguar Journal. Go follow us and support us. We're continuously trying to grow this thing, and not just going to try. We are growing this thing, considering where we were at day one when this whole idea formulated and we sat down and said, all right, how are we going to do it? And we didn't have no direct plan on how it was supposed to look. We've literally been figuring it out as we go. And the fact we've been figuring it out, but the fact it has been growing, and I always put it out there, we are a radio show first, and we're the rest of that other stuff second. But the other stuff is for you guys who don't get a chance to catch us live, because I know sometimes it is tough to catch us live at 7 o'clock in the morning. Ask me about it. Ask Mike about it. Us getting up in the morning on a Saturday. Goodness gracious. Let's take a break, Mike. Let's get ready to take a break, everybody. You get up. My man Kevin Walker, get your coffee, baby. If you're up, get your coffee. You don't need the newspaper right now. Just get your coffee and turn your radio up, and everybody else get your iPad, your phone, your laptop, whatever listening device, and you just stay tuned as we pay a couple bills. We'll be right back. More of the Jaguar Journal. What's going on?
Quincy Richard is the quarterback. And, Don, this is a man who's really changed his game from last season, and he's a graduate student as well.
Yes, he has, Bob. Quincy Richard has matured into the unquestioned leader of this Southern University offensive attack. 10 wins this season, and he set school marks for passing yards and touchdown passes. And Bobby's had a lot of help, only 5 sacks on the season.
He earned his undergraduate degree back in August. He's taking some master's classes, and he wants to be a lawyer.
Here's Richard looking in the end zone. Has a man there. Touchdown, Southern University.
Play clock down to 3. Richard gets it off.
Holmes goes in motion and comes set on a 1st and 10. Richard completes it. That's Ard. Ard down the sideline. He could go. And finally pushed out of bounds. Richard's run for 10 touchdowns this season. He's going to keep it. Richard goes in. Make it 11 for Quincy Richard. Richard wide open. Touchdown, Chris Davis. Oh, does he love playing football even more now?
That in the flag against Grambling, holding on the kickoff.
Richard looking deep, and it's a touchdown.
But only 3 times did he go down. Twice he ran out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage. It goes down as a sack.
2nd and 8. The deep ball, and that's our man, Chris Davis, for the touchdown. Time for today's State Farm Players of the Game. And from Southern University, the quarterback, number 15, Quincy Richard. 34 of 42, 552 yards, 5 touchdown passes.
Quincy, on behalf of State Farm Insurance Companies, I want to present you with a trophy for the most outstanding player today. Congratulations.
All right, good morning, everybody. 7:17 a.m. on a Saturday morning. We're right knocking at the door of Christmas. We are at the end of the year. Good morning to everybody out there. Temperatures are going to be cool this weekend. Lows getting down to the low mid-30s, so you guys make sure, get that heat. Everybody get together, get straight this weekend. As in the nighttime, we know the lows are going to be down pretty low. Make sure those animals outside, those dogs and whatever else. Well, we in Louisiana, people have chickens and pigs and horse. Well, you can't do nothing with the horses. Because you know one thing, listen, in Baton Rouge, I was trying to be serious real quick, but it's nothing to just be driving and see somebody riding a horse down the street. But nonetheless, the high today is going to be 55. Currently, it's 35 here in Baton Rouge. 33 is going to be the low tomorrow with the high of 58. We're looking at the temperature around Christmas with a chance of rain, 71 degrees. So we're looking at the 70s this week. I saw somebody in the comment talking about in New York waking up to some snow this morning. So, hey, he's probably going to have a white Christmas. And shout out to everybody who listened to us checking in from Dallas, New York. And that's the beauty of the social media side and the YouTube side that I was talking about. We get a chance to connect with people all over the country, as well as our listeners right here on 107.3 Talk Radio in the Baton Rouge capital city area. Glad to have you guys. And if you're paying attention and watching us on our YouTube, be sure to go into the description on the comment section at the top. My man Mike has the link tree for all of our social media. So you don't have to go find each social media site if you want to follow and support us by just having to search all over the place. Say, well, I can't find it. It's in the link tree in the description on the comment section. You go in and you click on that. It'll send you to every link that we have for the Jaguar Journal. We'd love to have you follow us, subscribe to us, and support us, man, as we continue to grow. And we get into the holiday season. I know everybody does not celebrate Christmas. Sometimes it's Kwanzaa. Sometimes it's all type of other things. And sometimes it's just another day for people. But one thing I will say, and this is how I feel, and shout out to all the teachers. I know they tired of dealing with y'all bad kids, so them teachers finally got a couple-week break to be to stay away from all them bad kids out there. Yes, your kids are bad when they go to school, whether you know it or not, and them teachers have to deal with them. Now, when they come home and they act like, and they probably bad at home, you just don't pay them no attention. Whatever the case may be, and some of y'all got some good kids, right? But kids need to be taught something, and this is something I thought about, because I have 2 kids, a son and a daughter, 16 and 8. When it comes to Christmas, right? Because what I have noticed with this society that we live in today is an entitled, bratty, what other word I want to go with? Lack of appreciation when it comes to kids and the world that we live in today with the things that we afford to give them. Now, I would tell you what I teach my kids. I teach my kids to have an appreciation for everything, because you don't know how hard it is to have something unless you have to go work for it yourself and spend your hard-earned money. It's easy to have your hand out, take somebody else's money, spend it, and then don't treat it with such respect and appreciation when it's not yours. But I make sure I instill that in them, and it is always a work in progress. Parenting is never done. Every day. Right when they say, yes, sir, I got it, the next day they ain't got it. That's why you got in trouble all the time as a kid, because you did the same things over and over. Didn't I just tell you don't go to school and do all that talking? What you do? 2 days later, you went to school and did all that talking again. It is an ongoing process. But we have to train this generation of young people to be appreciative and not feel so entitled. And one of those things are, I get it. We always say we don't want our kids to have to go through what we went through. We want to give our kids the things that we did not have. If you're going to do that, teach them. I always say it's best to give them the things that we did have. Teach them appreciation for the small things in life. Christmas ain't always electronics and games and money. Sometimes it's the simple things of looking around. You got socks on your feet. You got drawers on your butt. You got a shirt on your back. You got a roof over your head. It's cold out there. We got some heat blowing, huh? Because there's somebody out there with no socks on their feet. There's somebody out there with holes in their drawers. There's somebody out there in a house with no heat. Those are the things to be thankful for. I get it. Christmas is this spend your money holiday, and don't blow your money if you know you're going to be broke the first of the month next week. Don't go without trying to provide in the moment. The whole year is Christmas, if you ask me. The same way I treat Valentine's Day. The whole year is Valentine's. You don't wait for that one day to be special and give your wife, your girl, your husband, or whoever the case may be, that special gift. You get that special gift each and every day. That's love. That's appreciation. I get it. These holidays and everything, it's a commercial feel to it. Don't mean you got to fall into it. Just because they say it's Black Friday don't mean you got to go out there and sit in the cold for 7 hours talking about to go fight over a TV that's only $100 cheaper than what it normally is. I worked at Toys R Us one time during Black Friday. Let me tell you something about people fighting over stuff. But I want to make sure in this holiday season that we teach appreciation, that we teach love. That's the main thing that I want to make sure, because these kids, they're bratty, they're unappreciative, they entitled, and they stuck on social media. And social media has created a world in which they see it as a facade that there's no such thing as tough times. And then we deal with this issue that we see more than ever. And when we use the term mental illness, depression, what we have done as a society has shielded kids and young people from the toughness of the world to the point to where when something does happen and it's tough, they don't know how to handle it. You went outside, you ran, you fell, you scraped your arm. You say put some alcohol on it, put a Band-Aid on it, go back outside. The kid's not even barely going outside to even know to run, to scrape and fall, to see what hurt feel like. Failure is good. It is a part of life. But when we watch the internet, when we watch social media, it creates a world that failure is not common. Because everybody is smiling. Look, don't the relationships look so great on social media? And they be right there in the somebody else inbox. Don't the relationships look good? It takes nothing to say smile on 3. 1, 2, 3, smile. And then as soon as that picture taken, you go back to whoever and however you were. I'm just putting this out there because I think as a society, we need to have a better understanding of who we are, because I think we have grown away from a society of people who cared about people. We have grown into a society that only care about yourself, selfishness. And I say that because it starts with the adult and it goes to the kids. And kids, it is learned behavior that you get from home. Entitlement, selfishness, and laziness. Laziness. But trust me, in the Perry White household, we combat that. I tell my kids all the time, don't be a follower, be a leader, because in this world of TikTok and everything else, ain't everybody followers? Everybody doing the same little dance to the same song because you saw somebody else do it, and you hoping your one video go viral with the millions of other videos that's doing the same thing. That's being a follower. And hoping somebody like you. I tell my kids that all the time. Don't give a you know what about if somebody like you or not. Like yourself. Do for yourself. Have an appreciation and love for yourself. You'll be so much better instead of trying to please somebody. Forget them. Do for you. Do what's best for you. And treat the people who do for you the best. And don't be trying to give the people who could care less about you all your effort. Take care of the people who take care of you. Show appreciation and love to the people who show appreciation and love for you, who are there for you and have your back. Because if you bite the hand that feeds you and you get out here in the world and you think these people who your friends, and you find out they not, this world is a cold, lonely place, especially on Christmas when you're by yourself. So these are just things that I just want to share because it is what it is. This is the world we live in. It used to be a saying, it takes a village to raise a child. Where's the village? Where's the damn village? I was raised in the village. A village is what helped create who I am as a person. It taught me tough times. It taught me love. It taught me appreciation. It taught me failure. You know why it taught me? Because somebody talked to me about it. It wasn't just an experience. It was, all right, let's talk about that experience. I believe as a society, we got to get back to a village. This selfish, this all about me society that we live in, this me. That's what's wrong with us. Ain't no love in it no more. And you see it when you're around. You see it when you out. People angry and mean and mad more than ever. We could do so much more if we stick together as society and teach these kids something, because this our next generation. I'd be damned if I grow old and I'm somewhere needing some assistance and it's some entitled kid that don't have no respect for an elder, that don't know how to say yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Don't know how to open the door and let you come through first. Don't know how to treat a woman. Don't know how to do the necessary things that I think are morals and values that you learn at home, where it starts at home. The basics. We're not teaching the basics no more. That seems like it's gone out the window. Every man for theyself. Don't matter young or old. No respect. No appreciation. No care. We're going to have to do better. And I say all this to say Christmas is coming up. Make sure you instill in these kids, yes, gifts are good, but it ain't the only thing. Sometimes just be appreciative. Go over there and cut on that light. And if you got lights, be happy. Go over there and cut that water on. If it's warm, be happy. Somebody out there don't have. And it ain't funny because they don't have. It ain't no joke to laugh and talk about them because they don't have. It's just for you to be appreciative that you do have. Appreciation. I thought that's what Christmas was all about. Let's get back to what we believe is all about, whether you believe in it or not. It ain't always about the gifts. It's about just love. Sometimes just sharing and receiving love is the greatest gift of all. When the last time somebody hugged you and said, I loved you, and looked you in your face and said, do you need anything? Can I help? So just keep that in mind as we get into the holiday. I know y'all going to have these New Year's resolutions. Everybody, the gym's going to be jumping, Mike. They finna get the memberships going. Let's get ready to take a break. We'll be back. Stay tuned. Hey, we're going to talk. It's time to talk some transfer portal, Celebration Bowl, coaches, whatever the case may be. So, hey, stay tuned. We'll be right back. I'm about to get into it. It's the Jaguar Journal.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
T.R. Ricks is a fifth-year senior who's getting his first chance to drive the train that Bob talked about. And right now, he's driving it quite well because the Southern Jaguars are kicking butt in the SWAC conference. As Bob mentioned, 6-0 overall in the SWAC, and T.R. Ricks has played so well, over 2,000 yards passing. In the last 3 games running the football, he's been over 100 yards on the ground. The respect factor that he gets from his teammates is incredible. As a fifth-year senior who's never started, they elected him captain. And the numbers he has put up are represented on your screen. 27 total touchdowns on the offense, a pass percentage of nearly 60%. He could be the SWAC Player of the Year on the offensive side.
Best, and they're going to get a huge dose of the best offensive player in the SWAC, and that being Thomas Ricks.
Yeah, what Thomas Ricks has found a way to do is just beat defenses either with his arm, with his feet, or with his leadership capabilities, finding a way to win the games late with fourth-quarter comebacks. He showed versatility and athleticism. He's a tremendous athlete that knows how to win, most importantly.
Really is a leader both on and off the field.
I just think it has come to a maturity level. I have a 4-year-old son, and, when he was born, I had to grow up fast, and, just staying in school and practicing every day, trying to get better every day, just so he can have a better future. It's just been my inspiration. So, I just think that's my motor that drives me and, keeps me in the game.
His 4-year-old son, Collier, has not missed a game this season. They throw the football around in Rick's dorm room at Southern, and he says it's great playing football with Collier. 1st and 10. Ricks. He's got Vernon. Vernon makes the catch at the 45.
They can run the entire offense with all those guys in the game.
Ricks to Vernon. 1st down. Holmes in the backfield. Ricks. 1st down. Gage on the tackle, but not until Ricks picks up the 1st down. 2nd and 7. Ricks. Overstreet's got it. Across midfield. Ricks has a receiver downfield. It's caught for a touchdown. Territory. Ricks fakes the pitch. Gets inside the 15.
He's in the type of young men that represent his philosophy in life and in football.
Ricks in a shotgun. He's going to run it out to the 10. And 2nd and 11 after the holding penalty. Sidearm toss.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning, everybody out there listening across the radio airways here in the Baton Rouge Capital City area on Talk 107.3. Good morning to everybody listening to us on the Jaguar Journal YouTube channel and Facebook page. Good to have you guys with us. My man Mike put in on the Jaguar Journal in the comments section the link tree to all of our social media sites. So if you got to go in there and you got to, you want to follow us on Instagram, X, Facebook, YouTube, whatever the case may be, we'd love to have your support. Go in there and do so. All right, as we get the show rolling, it's time to jump into it. I know you guys want to talk about the transfer portal, this ever-changing world of college football. People are going in, people are coming out. We are watching the college football playoffs. We're watching bowl games, and we just had the bowl game on last weekend, the Celebration Bowl, and nobody better to talk about any of this stuff than my main man, a.k.a. Blue, Zach McKinnell from FCS Football Central. Blue, good morning, man.
Hey, good morning. Appreciate you having me, Perry, as always, man. Looking forward to chopping it up about some football, man.
Hey, it's that time of the year because, look, although football is over in the MEAC and the SWAC, it's not over in many offices across the country and these athletic buildings because coaches are looking like, man, what we got to do to get this guy in. Currently, Blue, do you know the number of the amount of players in the transfer portal?
Obviously not the exact amount. The last time I got an update was about 7,100.
7,100.
And that was as of yesterday.
Whew. Whew. What 7,100 players think they going?
Man, with these new scholarship limits, I don't know. Some of them are going to be sitting at the house.
All right, Blue, let's talk about this because I want to give an idea of the transfer portal for people out there. Then we're going to jump into it We'll look around the conference. We'll look in the MEAC. We'll just kind of be all over the place because there's a lot of news with the transfer portal. But when we look at the transfer portal, it gave the student athletes an opportunity because we remember those days when a kid wanted to transfer and go to another school. You had to sit out. You had to do all this waiting. You had to go through the clearinghouse. There was so many steps and processes that went through it. Then we came out with the NIL along with the transfer portal. And when you match those together, what do you have? You have a recipe of young people who it goes beyond now the scholarship. It goes beyond the idea of this is a student athlete to where now this is professional sport, regardless of what you want to call it. When you're getting paid, you're now professional. And now you got a lot of these kids, young people, because they are not kids considering all of these eligibility, the amount of 6 and 7 year eligibility that's out there. But now you have young people, young adults who are chasing this all over the place because the possibility of money could be here, the possibility of money could be there, and that the grass is greener on the other side. The unfortunate part about this, Blue, is you're talking about 7,100 kids in the transfer portal. A lot of them going to find themselves without a scholarship. A lot of them going to find themselves without a college home. And a lot of them going to find themselves back at home because it ain't always, the grass ain't always green on the other side, Blue.
No, it's not, man. And also, too, you know this, man. I mean, there's a lot of kids getting a lot of bad advice, whether it's parents, whether it's friends, whether it's an agent who's looking to make a quick buck off of a kid. I mean, is there a solution? No, because, I mean, I've been told by multiple coaches that it's just like toothpaste, man. It's out the bottle. They end up putting it back now. And I think the biggest mistake is it's not allowing kids to transfer. Because, Perry, I mean, I think the kids needed, or the players, student athletes, needed a way to have some sort of mobility in the sport, right? With how volatile the coaching is, I think it was clear to me, it would be good to allow kids a free transfer when their coach leaves. So if, your coach goes and takes another job, you're allowed to transfer because you signed the quote-unquote contract to play for that coaching staff, and now they're not there. The other thing is you allow one free transfer, man. Everybody makes mistakes. Perry, if me and you had to deal with the consequences of every single decision we made at 18, you know what I mean? I mean, You make bad decisions at 18 years old. So allow one free transfer and then allow grad transfers to a free transfer. So once you get the degree, which is the ultimate goal in this, and you graduate, you should be able to transfer out, right, Perry? So there's different avenues for mobility. The problem came in is when the NCAA just said, oh, everybody can transfer freely at any time they want, and sometimes kids can transfer twice a year. They could sign with the program in December and re-enter the portal in April after spring practice.
I'm listening to a coach from UTSA talk about it. He said, man, it's not even the kids' fault. It's our fault. We gave them this freedom to go here and there without any structure to it. And then I heard another coach say, if I'm going to pay for a kid to be here, because that's basically what kids are choosing now. Every kid that's talking to a coach, not saying coach to play, they saying, coach, how much you paying? So now let's say you get that kid, you're paying him, and now here go another school coming in, courting him. Hey, I'll take care. I'll pay you more. I heard a coach say, well, it's basically like a contract. You need to buy him out of his contract if that means paying us to get that kid because we did the legwork to get that kid. He's still in the deal with us, and here you are taking him. It's so many ups and downs to it, Blue, especially with money involved. And the biggest thing for me is, what is this going to look like for APR in the future, especially for what we call the low-resource institutions that don't necessarily have all the staff when it comes to making sure that these kids are graduating. Because you get kids that now they're going to 3, 4, 5 different schools in the course of their career, Blue.
I mean, period. 3 and 4 is a low ball now. You had a kid yesterday. Because also, too, and I've talked to a few college coaches about this, Perry, you cover a little bit of high school football. How many kids are doing this in high school?
Well, you talking about jumping from high school to high school?
Yes.
Oh, we got that issue right now. The LHSAA just had an issue with a school here, University High School here, U High, having that issue where you had a coach or someone from another school, what's the school, Lee High School, who put that in, and then they came out, they did their investigation. U High didn't even get a chance to participate into the playoffs. They had a bye week and were getting ready for their next game, and boom, couldn't even participate because of a ruling from the LHSAA that went to court and ultimately said, all right, yeah, you're going to have to forfeit all your games and you can't participate in the playoffs because you lost those games due to forfeit. So it is happening.
So building a culture of just going from program to program starts in high school for some of these kids too, Gary. So that only adds to the issue. But I think there's no turning back now, Tony. Unless the NCAA just limits free transfers, you're going to see it every year. And like you said, with all the new eligibility rulings where you got kids playing for, 6, 7, 8, 9 years in some cases now, it's just inevitable. And I think you're seeing a lot of FCS programs have to adjust because, Perry, it's almost like you would rather your player not have a breakout year and be a freshman All-American.
It's scary.
If he has that breakout year, guess where he's going?
Up.
P4.
Did we just see Giovanni Gibson from UAPB? The kid, Opelousas, Louisiana, not recruited high, goes to University of Arkansas Monticello, a Division II school, leaves University of Arkansas Monticello, goes to UAPB, FCS, right here in the SWAC, has a breakout year. Is he an FCS All-American this year?
Yeah.
And now just committed to Oklahoma. I don't have a problem with it. It's just a scary thought that for the coaches, man, this kid shows out and we can't keep him next year because, now guess what he's going to do? He's going to go chase the bag, and I don't have no problem with it. The problem I have with college football today is why I used to love college football. I got a love for it still. Because the love is more to the institutions. The more so like the NFL, I don't really necessarily love a particular organization. I love players. Players are all over the place. But at least the players stick around long enough where you get a chance compared to college. I used to love the loyalty to the program. It used to mean something on signing day when a kid had 3 to 5 hats right there, and he picked up one of them hats and he put it on. He said, I'm taking my talents to wherever. That was the commitment and loyalty to college football that made you as a fan committed and loyal to your team and made you support that kid. But I get it. We live in the world now that the kids have the ability to go out and then, guess what, shop themselves. And damn right they should. Damn right they should. I believe they should. Because far too long, coaches have become very rich. We see these mega contracts of these coaches today. These coaches have gotten rich. High school coaches have made a lot of money as well. College coaches, off the backs of kids who everybody's not going to go to the NFL where the opportunity can afford itself for them to get a paycheck. And I get it. College is about getting an education. I want to make sure that we do teach these kids because at the end of the day, they need financial literacy, whether they get money or not. Life, you just need financial literacy. Just life. Whether you're playing football or whether you're just a fireman, whether you're a banker, whether you're an entrepreneur, you need financial literacy to understand what you're doing with your money. To be successful in life. To be able to teach your kids. Let's get ready to take a break, Blue. We'll be right back. Hold on with me, Blue. Let's take a break. Let's pay some bills, and we'll continue this conversation. Y'all stay tuned. More to Jaguar Journal.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
Talk about offense, we talk about Southern, and it begins with their passing game.
Tom, beyond potent, we're talking about high octane, we're talking about fast break, we're talking about 41 points a game, some 500-plus yards since Terrence Levy has taken over this offense.
Because that young man doesn't drop any ball.
With the legacy that you started here, you got to feel happy to see it continue on with Doug Williams.
Ball now back at the 22-yard line. Levy, no pressure at all.
passing. Levy on a first and goal play. Throws a touchdown. Grambling comes with a blitz. Levy steps in the pocket. And his pass is caught. One-handed grab.
Sort of in the middle of the road of the SWAC, but immediately they jump on the Jackson State defense. And here's Levy rolling out. And the pass is caught. Ball is at the 31-yard line. Again, throwing the football downfield. Oh, and his receiver, Hayes, makes the catch. See you later. Touchdown, Southern. If you're going to get, I got some free tickets. Look out for it, brother. Going downfield. Oh, and what a play by Southern.
Score. He's played a lot tougher ever since. And this is a free play for Southern.
2nd and 15.
It's a free play.
Levy completes his
pass.
It's
a free play.
Oh, and he's still up.
It's a free play.
Hayes is going to continue running inside the 10, the 5. Unbelievable, Michael Hayes. 3rd down. And 23 for a first. Levy over the middle. Nice pass that time. 2nd and 20. Levy doesn't have to get it all, but he's going to have to pick up some yards. Here he is throwing. Nice catch made.
The receiver, Michael Hayes. There he goes.
Hayes makes the catch. Hayes still on his feet. Hayes looking for blocking. Hayes trying to find a hole. Hayes is still on his feet. He alley-oops. He's inside the 15 and drawn out of foul.
Touchdown.
Backfield. Plenty of time for Levy across the middle. Has his man at the 15. You know, I don't know if you want to break the spirit of Terrence Levy or not. Here he wings one wide open down the middle and a one-handed grab made.
In the way. 3rd down and 4. And here's Lewis off the catch. Lewis still on his feet. And Lewis is streaking down the sideline. Touchdown. So they move back.
All right, we are back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody that's listening on 107.3 FM across the radio waves in the Baton Rouge capital city area. Good morning to everybody watching on our YouTube as well as social media on Facebook and all across whatever you're listening to us on, man. Good to have you guys with us this morning. Got my man Zach McKinnell, a.k.a. Blue from FCS Football Central. Good morning, Blue.
Hi, good morning.
All right, we're talking the transfer portal. You said 7,100 kids in the transfer portal. As we look around in the transfer portal, Blue, and you talked about, you know, a kid having a breakout year, maybe as a freshman or whatever else, but let's talk about the high school side because we see coaches want to go with the plug and play. What does this new world now do for the high school kid who wants to go ahead and play college football, and what does it do for the coaches when we start to talk about development? Because I think what we're starting to have is a lack of development when it comes to the game.
Yeah, and I mean, Perry, I think this goes back to contracts and how patient fan bases are. Because let's be honest, I mean, there's a lot of places where you have 2 years to win, Perry, or you're gone. And so why wouldn't you try to go get more plug-and-play players rather than try to develop a freshman? Because a lot of schools aren't keeping you around long enough to develop your freshmen. And so, to me, I think it connects to how volatile college football coaching has become, because a lot of coaches just don't have time to develop those freshmen. And then also, too, Perry, you take a risk now recruiting high school players because you bring in a highly touted freshman. Let's say you want him to redshirt. Perry, there's a 50-50 shot that kid's in the portal after the season, and therefore you don't even have him on your roster anymore. Or he comes in and contributes immediately, and he's gone after his freshman year. Then you're back to square one, recruiting another, freshman out of the high school ranks. So it's much easier to find a guy who's plug and play and takes a little bit less work to develop. And also, too, is once a kid hits the portal once, it's a little less likely that kid hits the portal again, especially depending on his eligibility. So a lot of these coaches are just kind of hedging their bets almost in the portal and saying that I'd rather go get a kid that maybe only has 1 or 2 years of eligibility remaining, is developed, mature, rather than go get a freshman kid who I'm going to have to fight to keep every single year once he proves to be a contributor or a playmaker.
You know, the way I'm looking at this with the transfer portal, and let's take the FBS to the FCS, right? The FCS, we get excited, right, when we get a a player that was formerly Tennessee, formerly Texas, formerly Florida, former 3-star, former 4-star, right? And he comes down to that level. But yet, when you're starting to look at the FBS level, like we talked about Giovanni Gibson, nobody paid attention to him coming out of high school. And here he is signing with Oklahoma. So it's like, and then just take a kid from like Alabama State, Keyshawn Johnson. I just watched him in a bowl game with Western Kentucky the other day. You're looking at the kids from the lower levels going up and the kids from the upper level coming down. What's the world that we're living in where it seems like the FCS schools really having the talent to move up? And at the end of the day, these stars, unless you the big-time Texas A&M, the Texas, the Alabamas, the Georgia, the stars really don't mean nothing anymore coming out of high school.
No, and Barry, you're a recruiting guy just like I am. It's always kind of been like that, right, where I think recruiting rankings are good if you're a top, 200 to 250 prospect. Like those upper 4 stars and the 5 stars, the recruiting rankings are actually fairly accurate if you look at the data. Where the variability comes in is when you get to those 3 stars, Perry, and then it really comes down to development and player evaluation. And I think the FCS programs are on the forefront of that, right? I mean, Perry, we're sitting at a time, and I mean, let's remove maybe Travis Hunter from this conversation because we knew what he was. But you look, Cam Ward was a top 5 finisher in the Heisman race. Cam Scatabo from Sacramento State finished 5th in the Heisman race from Arizona State. Shador was a lower 4-star, high 3-star on some sites. He finished top 10 in the Heisman race. So you're seeing these FCS guys go up a level and make significant impacts. And I think, one, you look at the FCS level, Perry, we have a lot of what you would call late bloomers on this level, where I talked to a coach about recruiting Giovanni Gibson, and he was like, bro, that kid was not like that coming out of high school. And so I think you see a lot of guys as late developers or even they just kind of come into their own while they're in college. And so you get these kids that were under-recruited, overlooked at these FCS programs that turn into superstars just because they weren't, you look at some of these kids that signed to LSU, Georgia, Ohio State, and these kids are like 6'3", 250 now as like a 9th grader. And it's like, okay, obviously he's probably going to be a monster when he gets to college. But a lot of these FCS kids were not like that. I mean, you look at some of the offensive linemen that like a North Dakota State developed, Perry, Cody Mauch coming out of high school, who was the 2nd-round offensive guard out of North Dakota State. When he got to North Dakota State was like 6'3", like 240, Perry, and played tight end, and they developed him into an all-world offensive lineman. And so the big thing is at the FCS level, that's where we get hurt is we do that. We do the work of identifying kids who have a lot of upside. And once we tap into that upside, tap into that talent, then these bigger P4, high G5 schools are just going to come scoop these kids up for a bag, even though we've done all the work to develop some of these players into the superstars they are because these P4 schools wouldn't give them a look coming out of high school.
Let me ask you this. Do you think we're watering down the sport now because of what you talked and what you said, the lack of development? And it seems like coaches, it used to be iron sharpen iron. You had a kid that'd sit behind another guy who was obviously maybe better, and that kid learned and he got better. But does it seem like now, because we don't have the emphasis on the developmental side, it's the plug and play, that we're going to water down this sport when it comes down to the fundamentals of football?
I mean, possibly. I mean, so, we had a conversation on HBCU Nightly. Shout out to Josh and BJ and those guys. I think you're seeing that at some positions. I think offensive line and quarterback are probably the two you would look at and say there's been a deterioration of those positions, right? Because, I mean, we talk every year, Perry. I mean, how bad is the quarterback play at some of these institutions right now? And it's because of the lack of continuity of offensive play callers, systems, schemes, and then offensive line, Perry, you know this. I mean, you have to build chemistry with your teammates. When you have a different left guard starting next to you every single year, how in the world do you ever build chemistry there? And I think you're seeing the total offensive line play trend in the wrong direction. I mean, Perry, how many years has it been? Let's just take it to the P4 level. How many years have people been talking about, oh, this is the worst offensive line we've seen Alabama have? This is the worst offensive line we've seen Ohio State have. And you have all these examples of these big P4 teams having the worst offensive line, and it goes back to a lack of continuity because everyone's looking for plug and play in positions where plug and play isn't the answer.
Yeah. 225-499-1073 is the number. I'm sure if anybody wants to call, if you want to chime in, 225-499-1073. Mike, how long we have before we at the top? Right now. All right. Blue, hold on for a second. We at the top of the hour. We got to pay some bills. Want to thank everybody out there that are continuously listening. That if you're just waking up, jump in the conversation with us. Either you're on 107.3 FM here in the capital city area of Baton Rouge, listening on the radio waves, or you're watching us via social media on our Facebook as well as on our YouTube. Good morning to you. Glad to have you with us. I'm Perry White. My man Mike behind the boards making sure everything works, and my man Zach McKinnell, a.k.a. Blue, on the phone with me. We're talking the transfer portal this morning. It's top of the hour. When we come back on the other side, we'll look around the SWAC. Let's talk about different programs, where kids are going, who's coming, who's going, and we'll break down, and then particularly we'll get around to Southern. We'll look at Jackson State, who just won the Celebration Bowl, and we'll talk about the Celebration Bowl as well as coaching hires. And it's just a wonderful time of the year as we get ready to end it. So you guys stay tuned. We'll be right back. More of the Jaguar Journal.
Quarter with Jackson State leading 10-3. Ball is at the 31-yard line. Again, throwing the football downfield. Oh, and his receiver, Hayes, makes the catch. See you later. Touchdown, Southern. And every time you think Southern struggles, they come back, they make a play. They've done it all year long. Kick is up. Kick is good. Second down and a yard to go. Again, they give it to Lewis. Lewis finds room. Lewis still on his feet. Lewis making a move to the outside. He's inside the 25, the 10, the 5. What a run by Ryan Lewis. 69-yard run for Ryan Lewis. And how about this? Kicks up. Kicks good. Halftime, George Johnson along with Charles Mann. Southern trailed in this football game 10-7. Then they reel off 14 straight points, and they do it with the big plays.
And that's something that we didn't think would happen, at least from Southern's perspective. They've been able to methodically go down the field on people and win ball games, not the big plays. You saw the big play by Ryan Lewis running 69 yards, the nice throw by Terrence Levy. This is something that I don't think Jackson State thought they would see in Southern either, and they go into halftime down by 7 points.
Jackson State came in the best defense out of the SWAC. And if you take a look at the highlights, you will see that this club, and I'm talking about Southern, was really able to capitalize on a couple of miscues, and the big plays are the result of it.
And this is Daniel Guy with a nice stiff arm to Bradley Pittman there. And he runs that ball 36 yards inside for a touchdown and makes it 7-3. And then Terrence Levy, quarterbacking, throws a big bomb to Michael Hayes, who gets by Rashard Anderson and waltzes into the end zone for a 69-yard reception. And then the big run by Ryan Lewis, a scat back for Southern, races 69 yards for the score. And that's where it stands right now, 17-10. Southern is on top.
Passing leaders in the conference, Lionel Hayes from Grambling, your top passer. Washington second, but he's intercepted right there. This time the inside handoff,
and the ball was dropped, and Tommy Head.
Here's Taylor in the pocket, looking downfield and looking for Leroy Fields, and this one looks intercepted, and it is.
He's played a lot tougher ever since. And this is a free play for Southern.
2nd and 15.
It's a free play.
Levy completes his
It's
pass.
a free play.
Oh, and he's still up.
It's a free play.
Hayes is going to continue running inside the 10, the 5. Unbelievable Michael Hayes. Hayes now with 187 yards receiving. 169-yard touchdown, 181-yard touchdown,
And Southern's came up with all the big plays.
They lead by 14. And that one is intercepted by Darden. Darden looking for some room, and Guyan will finally drag him down. But we start the fourth right after this. Second down in 20 after the penalty.
He's got a man wide open.
Going into the corner. Touchdown! Reynolds attempting the point after. It's good. A 32-yard field goal. Kick is up. Kick is good.
This is a great football game.
We knew it would be, though. Torrey Thigpen got us out of our seats.
And this is the punt return by Torrey Thigpen. We were just talking about we haven't seen him. He breaks 2 tackles and runs up the sideline. He has great blocking, but gets pushed out of bounds on about the 1 yard line.
And touchdown Jackson State.
The game is a game of momentum swings. Snap is good. The kick is up.
On driver. Yes, sir.
The ball up to the big receiver, Michael Hayes. There he goes.
Hayes makes the catch. Hayes.
Top of the hour, it's the Jaguar Journal. Glad to have you guys with us. Good morning to everybody listening on Talk 107.3 FM here in the Baton Rouge, capital city area, across the state of Louisiana, as well as everybody watching across the world in the United States and everywhere else on our Jaguar Journal YouTube channel. Glad to have you guys with us. I'm Perry White. Got a very special guest with me today, my man Blue, Zach McKinnell from FCS Football Central. Good morning, Blue.
Good morning, man. I'm still hearing a commercial on my end.
You good now?
Yeah, I'm good now.
See? Hey, Mike on it. He working. All right, let's get ready to jump into it. We got a call on the line. Let's go straight to our caller real quick, Blue. We got my man Chuck on the line. Good morning, Chuck.
Good morning, you three, and the listening viewing audience. Happy holidays to you all. Blue, is the first time ever conversing with you. I always enjoy watching you on YouTube. My reason for calling you all is talking about the transfer portal. We've seen a lot of them go in the transfer portal, and just one of them that we had just seen last Saturday in the Celebration Bowl is in the transfer portal, Caden High from South Carolina State. I had seen that, and I just saw yesterday that I was reading about Andrew Jones, the linebacker at Grambling up here. I'm up here in Monroe, Louisiana, Blue, and in Grambling territory, and I see I see he's going to the University of South Carolina. If I stand corrected on that.
Yeah. So actually, with Andrew Jones,
thank you, Chuck.
He committed.
All right.
Yeah, appreciate you, Chuck. On Andrew Jones, though, Perry, he actually committed to South Carolina, and yesterday flipped his commitment to Ole Miss. So now he's headed to go play for Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss now.
Let's do this, Blue. Let's look at the SWAC East, right? Let's start over in the SWAC East. Of course, we got Mississippi Valley. We got Jackson State. We got Alabama A&M. We got Alabama State. You look over, you got Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman. Let's look at those programs. Give me some of the guys right now of names that you've seen hit the transfer portal from any of those programs so far out of the SWAC East.
I think the biggest loss would potentially be Joshua Nobles from Jackson. I think that was an interesting decision, that he had a really, really good year off the edge. I think Jackson really improved their edge and linebacker play, and Nobles was one of the guys that I think really improved that defense for me. For what I was told, he's from up north and wanted to kind of get closer to family, which is expected. And Jackson's done a good job recruiting there. But yeah, Joshua Nobles is one. I think for some of the other teams, man, I mean, really and truly, they haven't lost too much. I'll say this, man, I feel really bad for Mississippi Valley, just because, Perry, I mean, we know anytime you make a coaching change, you're going to lose a lot of players. And all those young freshmen that were making an impact, Tajirian Williams, they had a few defensive backs hit the portal. All that recruiting that staff was starting to kind of build some momentum in state, Perry, all those kids hit the portal. And so I really kind of wonder, the new staff, whoever ends up taking that Valley job, like, what are they going to do to rebuild that program, Perry? And I think they had a solid young foundation built. Now, do I think Valley was going to win the SWAC or anything? No. But, Terry, I mean, we kind of saw some of that young talent come to fruition, upsetting FAMU, playing some other games a little bit closer last year. I feel like that was a premature firing, and I think you saw that with all these young players that hit the portal now. And I'm going to say this, Terry, Valley's had some players these past year or so transfer out and be significant contributors elsewhere. I thought they had plenty of individual talent in certain positions. I mean, Perry, they had a starting corner or nickel that transferred out and was the starting nickel on Tarleton State, who made the playoffs this year. So I think Valley just lost. I mean, I want to say it's up to like 12 or plus players for Valley now hit the portal. So to me, like those are two out of the SWAC East that really stand out to me.
Let's go to the phone lines right quick. We got a caller. Good morning.
Hello?
Hey, good morning.
Hey, this is Mr. Ford. How you doing?
Hey, doing good.
All right, this is for Blue. Blue, I want to know about the Trumaine Jackson room. Is he going to Prairie View? And then this thing about Teddy Bridgewater being interviewed by some HBCU. I want to know if you know about that. And your initial thoughts on the whole Michael Vick hiring. Do you think he'll win? And you heard anything about who's going to be on the staff? Y'all have a good morning.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I appreciate Mr. Ford for calling in. Terry, I don't know what you've heard. I'd love your opinion on this after I give my thoughts. From what I'm hearing, Tremaine Jackson of PV is a done deal behind the scenes, and they're just kind of waiting for this D2 national championship run to finish up. I want to say that game's today, if I'm not mistaken. And man, I think that was the obvious hire, in my opinion, Perry. I mean, and me and you have talked about this on our Sunday morning show on Facebook on the Yard. Championship coaches are hard to find, man. We talk about coaching hires within the SWAC, and we talk about who deserves opportunities and who doesn't. I don't see how a guy who has continued to consistently compete for national championships at Valdosta and Tremaine Jackson, who's an HBCU alum, who has SWAC ties, was consistently getting overlooked for some of these positions, Perry, as a head coach. And so I think Tremaine Jackson, the PV, is a no-brainer there. Now, on the Bridgewater thing, it's a little iffy. So I know he said an HBCU interviewed him. If I'm going to take a stab in the dark here, Perry, I believe that was Valley. Valley, from what I'm hearing, has interviewed a few candidates, and a few candidates have applied. So, Perry, just to say it on here, I've heard from a really good source that Connell Maynor has put in his application for the Valley job. I've heard that Ed Reed has. Now, I'm serious. And listen, I've heard Ed Reed put in an application, but Valley has chosen not to interview Ed Reed as of now. And Michael Spurlock, former running back coach at Southern Miss, is the guy who's had an interview there as well. So there's a few names swirling there. So I would imagine Teddy Bridgewater has probably interviewed for that job, unless it's Alabama A&M, which I feel like is a little bit more less likely with two potential candidates emerging there. And then finally, man, the Michael Vick hire I thought was a slam dunk, Perry. I mean, I'm not always for the celebrity hire, but Perry, I want you to tell me if I'm crazy, but that one just made sense, right? Because of location, because of the challenges that Norfolk has been presented in terms of recruiting that Tidewater area. Hiring a Michael Vick is an injection of excitement. There's not a single campus in the Tidewater area now where kids are not going to be paying attention to Norfolk State and want to go play there. So I think the Vick hire is there. Is he going to be ready to compete year one? I don't know. Like you said, like Mr. Ford said, I think it depends on who he brings in on the staff. I've heard it's going to be a very NFL staffy staff with a lot of NFL ties, with maybe some former players and things like that. But it's all going to come down to how they recruit year one. But we saw with Chinnisberry, Perry, you can win in year one. I mean, heck, Eric Dooley went to Southern and took them to the SWAC championship year one. So we know it can be done. But listen, Trey Oliver's building a monster at North Carolina Central. Chinnisberry has a great foundation at South Carolina State. So I think it's a little crazy to think he's just going to walk to the MEAC champion or the Celebration Bowl next year, or walk to a MEAC championship. So I think he could be competitive, but until I see his staff and his recruiting class, I'm not going to say that Norfolk should be the shoe-in for the MEAC championship next year.
Listen, anybody that know, I followed Dawson Odoms to Norfolk. I was believing in the behold, the green and gold. I've been rocking with him. And look, one of my favorite coaches in Dawson Odoms, he moves on. Then they bring in my favorite player of all time. Anybody that knows me knows how much love I have for Michael Vick. I don't care about all that other stuff they be trying to put on him, right? In my community, we don't care about that. We remember Michael Vick for the Vick experience. We remember number 7. That's what I remember. Number 7 with the braids, doing everything. The days of playing with Michael Vick on Madden as a kid where he could do it all. That was just what I grew up loving, Michael Vick, and I still love him today. That's my favorite all-time player. So when I heard he got the job at Norfolk, yeah, I've seen people saying a celebrity coach, whatever the case may be. Michael Vick ain't a celebrity coach to me. He's just a football player. What's the problem with having a football player? This notion of using celebrity coaches. How in the hell is this a celebrity coach? A celebrity coach, if I go hire Denzel Washington to be my head coach, that's a celebrity. Jamie Foxx, that's a celebrity coach. Michael Vick is a football player. He played in the NFL. How's that? What makes that celebrity coaching? Right? He's a football player. That means he can go in and he knows the area. He knows that area very well. He's a legend in that area. So to come in and be able to recruit and do the necessary things, I believe that was a great hire. I want to see how he can build it. We all had that question with Eddie George up at Tennessee State, didn't we? Right? That's not a celebrity coaching hire to me. He's not getting treated like a celebrity, is he? He's a football coach. If he was a celebrity, that's all you would hear about. We use the term celebrity because Deion Sanders was a special case. He's a special case when you look at the limelight. The rest of these guys are just former NFL players. It's nothing celebrity about them. Deion is the only thing that creates that celebrity status. The rest of them are former NFL players. And I believe Vic can have the success if he can get the support of the school, the community, and they can draw in the money. They have the biggest stadium in the MEAC. They have a fan base that's just sitting there lying dormant. And if they can get things rolling in that area, with Vic using his stature of the former NFL player and put together a great staff, I think the sky's the limit. Now to go over to, you talking about Tremaine Jackson, he has the opportunity to be the first African-American to ever win the Division II national championship. They're taking on Ferris State. He's undefeated at Valdosta. He's a Texas Southern grad. This guy has a proven track record of knowing how to win, and the fact that he's at Valdosta State, where we know who is tradition rich when it comes to championships and winning, and to go there and can be able to put himself in that tough situation. Because anybody who's the head coach at Valdosta, you know what you're getting yourself into. That's kind of like going to Alabama on that level. You know what the expectations are here. It's nothing less than championship. Him going to Prairie View, I think, really shakes up the conference. It's one of those notions, Blue, that we talk about stepping outside of the realm of going around getting and recycling coaches. We hear that all the time, to recycle coaches. And there's nothing wrong with getting a coach from here and there, but sometimes let's get a coach that come from outside of the SWAC realm. A lot of people don't like that. It's okay. You say tomato, I say tomato. You say the, I say the. It does not matter. It's how you want it, how you perceive it. I think Tremaine Jack, if he goes to Prairie View, now the thing is the staff. I've always heard one of the biggest things that hurt Prairie View is you got to have that certain GPA. You just can't go in and get this guy and this guy and that guy. That has to come with the territory. But I think him at Prairie View shakes it up. And considering the success that he's having at Valdosta, especially if they win the Division II national championship and you bring that guy to this level, I like it. Hell, does that make him a celebrity coach? All the spotlight that's going to be put on him for something that's never been done? Got to get ready to take a break. Hold on, Blue. We got a call or two, but we're going to take a break when we come back on the other side. I had to quickly do all that because I was up against a break, folks. So let's take a break. We'll come back on the other side. Stay tuned more to Jaguar Journal.
Quincy Richard as the quarterback. And Don, this is a man who's really changed his game from last season, and he's a graduate student as well.
Yes, he has, Bob. Quincy Richard has matured into the unquestioned leader of this Southern University offensive attack. 10 wins this season, and he set school marks for passing yards and touchdown passes. And Bobby's had a lot of help. Only 5 sacks on the season.
He earned his undergraduate degree back in August. He's taking some master's classes, and he wants to be a lawyer.
Here's Richard looking in the end zone. Has a man there. Touchdown, Southern University.
Play clock down to 3. Richard gets it off over the middle. Touchdown!
Holmes goes in motion and comes set on a 1st and 10. Richard completes it. That's Ard. Ard down the sideline. He could go. And finally pushed out of bounds. Richard's run for 10 touchdowns this season. He's going to keep it. Richard goes in. Make it 11 for Quincy Richard. Richard wide open. Touchdown, Chris Davis. Oh, does he love playing football even more now?
That in the flag against Grambling, holding on the kickoff.
Richard looking deep, and it's a touchdown.
But only 3 times did he go down. Twice he ran out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage. It goes down as a sack.
2nd and 8. The deep ball, and that's our man, Chris Davis, for the touchdown. Time for today's State Farm Players of the Game. And from Southern University, the quarterback, number 15, Quincy Richard, 34 of 42, 552 yards, 5 touchdown passes.
Quincy, on behalf of State Farm Insurance Companies, I want to present you with a trophy for the most outstanding player today. Congratulations.
All right, good morning, everybody. Good to have you guys with us. I'm Perry White. Good morning to everybody listening on the radio here in the capital city of Baton Rouge and across Louisiana on Talk 107.3, and everybody out there on our social media watching us on Facebook Live as well as watching us on our YouTube channel. Good to have you guys with us. Go hit that subscribe button right there on our YouTube channel. Got my man Zach McKinnell, a.k.a. Blue, FCS Football Central with me this morning. Good morning, Blue.
Good morning, man.
All right, let's go to the phone lines real quick. We got CJ on the line. CJ, good morning.
Oh, good morning, Perry, and good morning, Mr. Blue. Glad to have you on the show. Got a couple quick things I'd like to say, and then you all can comment on it. Perry, I feel your energy as it relates to Michael Vick, but Michael Vick going to fall flat on his face. He's going to be gone in 3 years at Norfolk State because they're not ready and giving him the time to do what he really needs to do. He's not going to bring instant success there like we had at Jackson State. As well as the other thing, Mr. Blue, I'd like for you to, and Perry, I want you to remember about Stump Mitchell coming to Southern, too, with that same hoopla like you're producing with Michael Vick. But look, Mr. Blue, can you tell me if you think that Southern need to be recruiting those boys that entered the transfer program out of LSU? 4 of them are defensive backs, which we losing some defensive back, but we also losing a running back, and we need speed. We need speed on offense. We don't have speed, and we don't have power. So I want to know from the recruit that they just got, the 6'7" kid, have you got a chance to see him have anything on him to tell us what he's about? And what your thoughts is as to what I just said about why we not being real active on picking up anything that's leaving LSU to come to Southern. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, CJ.
Another good call. Perry, so I actually have not got to watch the film yet on the kid he's talking about, but I will watch that and I'll address it on a show later next week or something like that. But I've not got to watch the film. I don't like speaking on players, so I haven't really got to sit down and watch their tape. But the other question, Perry, about Southern recruiting LSU transfers, for me is okay. So the one thing we have to be careful about is just because those kids are playing at LSU doesn't necessarily mean they're good fits for Southern and the scheme that they're running. So I would say I'm going to assume, and I'm going to give Southern's defensive staff a little bit of grace here and say I would imagine that the staff has evaluated those guys, Perry, and I know you know the staff a little bit better than me, probably could speak to this, but I'm going to assume Southern and defensive coordinator Henry Miller are on top of recruiting the transfer portal and are looking for kids that kind of fit their culture and scheme because, Perry, to be fair with you, I don't think Southern's defense has been the problem these past few years. I think it's a lack of offensive execution. I think it's, injuries at the quarterback spot, a lack of talent sometimes at the quarterback spot, and just a lack of weapons surrounding the quarterback at times. So I do agree with him that offensively I would like to see Southern upgrade, especially at the wide receiver position. Now you need another running back, given that, you have one, you have probably one of your best running backs at the portal. And then, two, you really need depth at the quarterback spot because, Perry, I think it was inevitable, and this is just my take on it, that Jalen Woods or T-Set, one of those two were going to hit the portal. And the fact that Jalen Woods kind of solidified himself as the starter when healthy, Perry, I think it was obvious that T-Set was going to go look for somewhere else to play. So I do agree with him there that there are positions offensively to be upgraded, but I would trust Miller and that defensive staff that they have evaluated those defensive backs coming out of LSU. And, I mean, to be fair, I will say this for fans, be patient because, Perry, in my experience, a lot of transfers do not actually post offers on social media like a high school recruit. There's some that do, but a lot of these kids are looking at their transfer portal decision as a business decision because they've already been recruiting at a high level. So they're not looking for all the likes and clicks from posting all their offers. So you never know. Southern could have offered one of those 4 defensive backs, and I'm sure they're doing their due diligence on that. And I would imagine that Henry Miller and that defensive staff are going to be active in the portal. It's just still early, man. The portal period hasn't even closed yet. So I would be patient before, getting frustrated with their approach to the portal. But, Perry, I would like to hear your thoughts on this with how tied you are to Southern.
Well, because I also look at Davin Cotton was one of those defensive tackle, highly recruited out of high school, coming out of Shreveport, who went to LSU and ultimately came over to Southern. So I think one of the things people really got to understand, it was like what we talked about earlier. A lot of these kids are also looking for money. And when you're coming from LSU and you're looking down, because that's what they're doing, and when you say looking down, you're looking at the next level of FCS. Can you agree, Blue, the question that they're going to always have is, what do you have for me? Would they hand out?
Yeah, a lot of them will.
So we got to also understand it ain't the old days where you say you're going to recruit a kid and you just, hey, come here and play because we'll give you the opportunity to play. That ain't the part of it no more. It's that other thing, as he said on The Wire. It's that other thing. That other thing is, what's the benefits? What resources, what benefits am I going to get from you? Because guess what? You're not the only school contacting me. You ain't the only school talking to me. And I get it. I would love to see if we could get some of those guys. I really would. But then you got to also look at the perfect fit. Is it a good fit for the locker room? Because talking to coaches, we get caught up in a lot of this too, Blue, because you see this guy, you see the school he's coming from, but what we don't pay attention to as fans is, what is this guy like off the field? What is this guy like in the locker room? I think that often gets overlooked. What do you say, Blue?
Yes, it does. Because, hey, let's be honest. I mean, this doesn't apply to every transfer, but there's a story behind why some players do hit the portal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's an evaluation thing where not only are you evaluating the kid's talent, but I've talked to coaches. A lot of former coaches will be candid with you off record about why a kid transferred. I know coaches in the SWAC who, if they get a negative review in terms of locker room and culture vibes from your previous institution, they take you off the board regardless of how talented you are. And Perry, here's another sneaky thing about the portal I don't think people realize. There are certain positions that are being overvalued by P4 and FBS teams. Perry, I'll tell you a good story. Last year, there was an offensive lineman from Southern Miss who hit the portal. Had good measurables, Perry, but was an okay player, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know a staff in the SWAC who evaluated him to give him an offer, Perry. They said he was not good enough to play for them and that they were going to pass on him. Perry, because he played offensive tackle, do you know where he played football last year?
Where'd he go?
To the SEC. Do you know how many snaps he played in the SEC last year, Perry?
How many snaps did he play?
0. Damn. But you know what he was? You know what he was good for? I bet you he was a hell of a scout team offensive tackle. Offensive tackles, defensive tackles, corners, and quarterbacks are so overvalued, Perry, that you're going to have to pay extra for an average player just because the P4 teams want those guys for depth.
Yep.
Because it's so hard to get those positions. So I think you have to also look at what position are you recruiting and are you willing to, Perry, are you willing to give an NIL deal to a player that you might think is okay, but you know that if you don't offer him, he's going to go, be a depth piece somewhere.
And as fans, we got to understand what that means when we start to talk about the collectives and the NILs. It ain't just a coach going to look at the transfer portal and say, oh, let's get this guy, that guy. You got to court these guys. You got to talk to them. You got to bring them in. You got to they want to feel appreciated, loved, and grease the wheel, as the old folks say, putting something in their pocket. It's a lot more to the old days, and that's why I'm glad we're having the conversation, because I think oftentimes what it means to hit the transfer portal and what it means when you see all of these kids out there, well, why is it the coaching staff getting this guy and that guy? Why aren't they trying this and why aren't they trying that? It's a lot more that's beneath the surface that I believe the deeper we get with the transfer portal, the more the horror stories are going to come out. See, we're still early in this thing. There are a lot of horror stories to the transfer portal. And there's some good stories to the transfer portal. But there are a lot more horror stories, I think, than there are good, especially when you're in the process of all of these coaches contacting somebody. We even saw it with the UNLV, right? You had the quarterback who went there and said that they promised to pay him. Then he got there, and what happened, Blue? He never received anything, and what did he do? He quit on the team.
Yep, and I know that kid very well. I've had him on my show. I met him in Frisco last year for the national championship because he was there to get an award. And, I mean, and to talk about his story, Perry, let's not forget Holy Cross's coach was hired to be the next head coach of James Madison. He hit the portal thinking his coach was going to bring him to James Madison with him. You know what his coach did, Perry? Recruited over his head. So now that kid was in the portal with nowhere to go because he thought he was going with his head coach from Holy Cross, and he goes and recruits a better quarterback, and now he's in the portal and got to go to UNLV.
This portal thing is crazy. I can't wait till one day when the book come out on it and we really get a chance to look at it, because we're in the moment, and they often say when you're in the moment, you don't really get a chance to understand what's happening. But this portal is a lot deeper than what people think just because players are available. Let's get ready to take a break. When we come back on the side, let's talk about some Southern players that's in the portal, because there have been some names, and we'll talk about it because, Blue, you and I have been basically talking about Southern all year with On the Yard Network, and we've been looking at these guys. And so now we get a chance to see who stays, who goes. So you guys stay tuned. We'll be right back. More of the Jaguar Journal.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
T.R. Ricks is a fifth-year senior who's getting his first chance to drive the train that Bob talked about. And right now, he's driving it quite well because the Southern Jaguars are kicking butt in the SWAC conference. As Bob mentioned, 6-0 overall in the SWAC, and T.R. Ricks has played so well, over 2,000 yards passing. In the last 3 games running the football, he's been over 100 yards on the ground. The respect factor that he gets from his teammates is incredible. As a fifth-year senior who's never started, they elected him captain. And the numbers he has put up are represented on your screen. 27 total touchdowns on the offense, a pass percentage of nearly 60%. He could be the SWAC Player of the Year on the offensive side.
Best, and they're going to get a huge dose of the best offensive player in the SWAC, and that being Thomas Ricks.
Yeah, what Thomas Ricks has found a way to do is just beat defenses either with his arm, with his feet, or with his leadership capabilities, finding a way to win the games late with fourth quarter comebacks. He showed versatility and athleticism. He's a tremendous athlete that knows how to win, most importantly.
Really is a leader both on and off the field.
I just think it has come to a maturity level. I have a 4-year-old son, and, when he was born, I had to grow up fast and, just staying in school and practicing every day, trying to get better every day, just so he can have a better future. It's just been my inspiration. So, I just think that's my motor that drives me and, keeps me in the game.
His 4-year-old son, Collier, has not missed a game this season. They throw the football around in Rick's dorm room at Southern, and he says it's great playing football with Collier. 1st and 10. Ricks. He's got Vernon. Vernon makes the catch at the 45.
They can run the entire offense with all those guys in the game.
Ricks to Vernon. 1st down. Holmes in the backfield. Ricks. 1st down. Gage on the tackle, but not until Ricks picks up the 1st down. 2nd and 7. Ricks. Overstreet's got it. Across midfield. Ricks. As a receiver downfield. It's caught for a touchdown. Territory. Ricks. Fakes the pitch. Gets inside the 15.
He's in the type of young men that represent his philosophy in life and in football.
Ricks in a shotgun. He's going to run it out to the 10. And 2nd and 11 after the.
All right, we are back. Good morning to everybody. It's the Jaguar Journal. I am Perry White. Glad to have you guys here with us this morning. Good to have everybody listening on the radio waves across the capital city area here in Baton Rouge and South Louisiana on Talk 107.3 FM. We are radio-based, YouTube, social media second, so I always got to make sure I give a shout-out to our radio listeners all across the capital city area, as well as our YouTube. And listen, good morning to you. If you're out there on YouTube or you're watching on our Facebook Live, glad to have you guys with us. Be sure to go follow us across all of our social media, various platforms. We're on X, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, as well as hit that subscribe button right there on our YouTube channel. It is free. We don't need anything but your love and support. So good morning to you guys. I'm glad to have you guys with us. My man Mike on the board behind the scenes. And we're joined today, my man Zach McKinnell, a.k.a. Blue, FCS Football Central. Good morning, Blue.
Good morning, man.
All right. Turn it down just a little bit. There we go. All right. Blue, let's look at Southern University. Now, you and I have been talking about Southern all year with Jim as we went through the season. Our initial thoughts were looking at that offensive line early in the year, right? Atrocious, the way that play was. Couldn't get 100 yards, couldn't crack the century mark in the rushing game. And then it was like they figured it out around the Prairie View game, and after that it seemed like, all right, you start to see things gel, and you start to see that O-line play get a little bit better. But one thing we didn't see get better was the quarterback position. You saw Noah Biden, you saw Xavier T-Set, and you saw Jalen Woods, right? And I think that we can honestly say all three guys were given a fair chance at the starting quarterback position. Noah Biden, of course, started the season. Xavier T-Set came in after a couple possessions in that Savannah State game. He starts the game against Jackson State in the 3rd game of the season. He gets injured. Noah Biden comes back. Noah Biden leads Southern, comes back against Prairie View, right? Noah Biden in a position with Southern in that overtime against Texas Southern. So each quarterback seemed like they had their ups, their downs, because T-Set looked good against Alabama A&M and against Savannah State. The only issue that we saw from the quarterback position was the lack of consistency. Because then on the back end, we saw Jalen Woods step up against UAPB and against Grambling. And now we have Noah Biden and Xavier T-Set in the transfer portal. Your thoughts are looking at those guys and what we've seen all year from them.
No, I'm with you on that, where I think each of the quarterbacks had their opportunities to win the job, right? And to be fair, let's just be honest, Noah could have solidified his spot as a starter. I mean, last year, throughout spring, the fall, like Noah had every opportunity, Perry. And I think when me and you talked during this season, we kind of knew his time in the Southern jersey was up, right?
Mm-hmm.
He he wasn't going to be the future. I think it was a conversation surrounding T-Set and Woods, like I talked about earlier. They're both supremely talented and both show potential in different ways. And it was only a matter of time before one of them transferred out because there's only one guy who could start at quarterback, Perry. And we knew that one of those guys was going to have to make a decision to go be the guy elsewhere. Now, for me, I think with T-Set, he's so dynamic, so athletic. His upside is through the roof, but I think he thrives in a different sort of scheme than Southern Run just because of his dual threat ability. So I do think he made the right decision to go find a scheme, find somewhere where he could maybe utilize his athleticism a bit more. I think Woods showed, Perry, and I've heard this from you. I've talked to BJ about it, two guys who I know are plugged into Southern. Woods, in my opinion, stabilized the offense more so than any of the other quarterbacks. And I think his ability to stand in the pocket, look confident, his decision-making, his arm, gave him an extremely high upside in the offense that Southern is going to run. And so I think Jalen Woods is going to be the guy moving forward for Southern. But also, too, it really does hurt to lose a guy like T-Set, whose upside is so high. And also, too, has the ability to step in and win you games as a starter if anything would have happened to Woods. So losing that depth, I think, is the biggest thing for Southern right now, because I think now the Jaguars only have two scholarship quarterbacks right now, Perry, on the roster. So it's going to be extremely important for Terrence Graves and Mark Frederick and the staff to find some depth at quarterback and bring some guys into this room to compete.
And, we was talking about the transfer portal. Let's look at a guy like Quay Davis, right? Seems to be a journeyman of college football, and he faded out this year for Southern. He made a play here and there and then ultimately faded out, but he is what we talk about the transfer portal. He seems to have been all over the SWAC, Blue.
Yeah, really interesting. So, to me, I think this is his time to transfer down, right? If you haven't done it in multiple different schools, I think it's time to find either a position change, a transfer down to maybe a D2 contender, something like that, Perry, because I don't think he's transferring up, and I just don't think there's anywhere in the SWAC for him to go right now, unless it's somewhere, like Valley, who has lost, I think, all the quarterbacks on their roster, if I'm not mistaken. Valley could use them potentially to come in and stabilize that position for a year before giving that job to a young guy.
Let's look at the running back position, right? Kobe Dillon, who has been a part of this program for a long time. He was a high school quarterback, led his team to a high school state championship here in Louisiana. He went off to junior college. He came to Southern, and once he got to Southern, they saw his athletic ability and transitioned him from a quarterback to a running back. And that's ultimately what his position was during his time at Southern. And he had bright spots. At one game a few years back, he broke the SWAC single-game rushing record against UAPB before it was broken again the next week, I believe, or the next year by an Alcorn running back. But nonetheless, he had upside. But your thoughts looking at Kobe Dillon entering the transfer portal, 1 year left. He's dealt with some injuries as well throughout his career. Never truly had that breakout year, but he had spots where, you saw the potential and the athletic ability of him. But your thoughts looking at Kobe Dillon and evaluating with him now in the transfer portal?
I think his upside's there, right? I mean, you get a guy who has the talent to be an every down back if he continues to take steps forward. I mean, it's a guy who has contributed at a high level in the SWAC, has had a few performances that have kind of turned your head and been like, okay, the upside's there. And the kid averaged almost 5 yards per carry this year, had 800 on the ground this year. So the potential's there. I want to say right now, I don't know if he's a kid that doesn't post his offers. The only offer that I've seen him post is Alcorn, which would be interesting, right? Because Alcorn had a lack of depth at running back this year, and we all kind of talked that Alcorn needed to solve that running back issue. So I don't know if he's a guy that's going to go P4, Perry. I can see maybe lower in G5 potentially, but I really do think he's going to stick somewhere in the FCS level, and I would not be surprised if he ended up back in the SWAC. And, I mean, you look at Alcorn, I think I believe Eaglin's going from Alabama A&M. That's a potential landing spot. Grambling needs some weapons at running back as well. So I think there's a few different spots in the SWAC that he could land. And so I would imagine that he probably sticks at the FCS level if I had to put my money on it.
And, Chuck was talking about the transfer portal hitting Grambling. Co-defensive player of the year, Grambling hitting the transfer portal. How big is that for them to lose that guy to the portal?
Massive. Perry, I mean, I think, oh, man, I don't know. I was told by a player at the Celebration Bowl that I talked to that they thought he should have been SWAC Defensive Player of the Year by himself. They said he was the most athletic, the most versatile athlete defensively that they saw all year. So the kid is legit, man. And I think when you turn on his film, his ability to generate negative plays, his ability to play sideline to sideline, his ability to drop into coverage and make an impact. Like Andrew Jones is just a freak athlete, especially if, we know how measurables are on across FCS football in terms of people lying, but if he's legit 6'2", 220, and I haven't seen this kid play in person, so I can't speak to that. If he has those measurables, man, that kid's going to be an NFL player one day, and I'm really hoping he goes to Ole Miss and is able to have a massive impact. But, Perry, you're looking at a guy who put up 122 tackles, 20 and a half for loss, 3 sacks on a Grambling defense where he didn't have a lot of help around him. So, man, the kid is just a freak athlete, man, and I'm hoping he gets a fair shot to earn some playing time in the SEC this year.
And aside from you talking UAPB with Giovanni Gibson, who was a wide receiver, 1,000-yard receiver, he just committed to Oklahoma, so he'll be playing for the Sooners. You look at the quarterback who passed to him, who had over 2,500 yards passing at UAPB with a bad offensive line and no run game with B.J. Curry. Now you look at Mekhi Hagan, who has to be the top quarterback in the transfer portal from around the SWAC. Anything you've heard with Mekhi Hagan and exactly what it's looking like for him currently?
So I want to say he's posted a few offers, but I don't know if I don't think his potential is as high as Giovanni Gibson. I want to say I know he's posted an offer to South Carolina State. He has an offer from Howard. So I think he's going to stick in the FCS, Perry, potentially, like I said, lower G5 that really, really needs a quarterback. But I think his potential's there, man. I mean, like you said, he did his thing with no offensive line, with one true target at wide receiver in Giovanni Gibson. And so I think Mekhi Hagan is a guy who can go somewhere and instantly upgrade a quarterback room, whether that's as a starter or even as a backup, depending on which level he sticks at. But I think Giovanni Gibson landed in the perfect spot, man, with Oklahoma, by the way. I think that offense, they bring in Washington State's offensive coordinator that just signed John Mateer, the Washington State quarterback from this past year. And Perry, I mean, this kid is an absolute freak at quarterback, man. I mean, he threw for 3,100 yards, 29 touchdowns, had 15 rushing and almost 1,000 rushing on the ground as well. So I think that entire offense is revamped. And also with Oklahoma, Perry, they were missing their top 5 wide receivers due to injury, and a lot of those guys transferred out this past year. So Giovanni Gibson joins that room. They added a transfer from Southern Illinois as well. And so you're looking at that wide receiver room having 2 of the best FCS guys leading that room next year with an extremely talented quarterback and a revamped offense.
Mekhi Hagan also with an offer from Southern University. You know what's interesting, Blue, before we get ready to go to break? The offensive weapons that have come and gone out of UAPB. You're looking at Mekhi Hagan, Giovanni Gibson. How about Kavion Britton, who left in FCS All-American and went to Tarleton State? UAPB has had some ballers on the offensive side, but they are the product of what we talked about earlier in the show. A kid comes in and balls out, and you can't keep him in your program, Blue.
Yeah. So, I mean, Kavion Britton ran for 1,900 yards this year and 18 touchdowns. The past 2 years, he's run for over 3,000 yards and almost 40 touchdowns at Tarleton State. And let's not forget, they, on top of that, too, had, Mark Evans, who went to the league. They also had the defensive back who transferred, I want to say, to like K-State or something like that, and I'm blanking on his name right now. And so, I mean, they've had so much individual
They had a
talent.
linebacker go to Alabama State.
Rico Dozier.
Yeah.
And then let's not forget, Jackson's starting linebacker 2 years ago came from UAPB. Isaac Peppers.
Yep, he did. They've had the talent. They just had a hard time keeping the talent, man.
Yeah, I mean, think about what they could have been if they could have kept all this talent and had one of those. I mean, Perry, we'd be talking about them as a SWAC championship favorite.
Yeah. That's crazy. But that's the give and take of the transfer portal. That's when a guy goes somewhere, gets an opportunity at a program, and figures he's bigger than the program, and he transfers out and goes somewhere else. And that's what has hurt UAPB year in and year out, because no doubt about it, they have had the talent up in Pine Bluff. They just can't seem to keep the talent. Let's get ready to take a break. When we come back, we're ready to keep this conversation going. You guys stay tuned. More of the Jaguar Journal.
It's on the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
Talk about offense, we talk about Southern, and it begins with their passing game.
Tom, beyond potent, we're talking about high octane, we're talking about fast break, we're talking about 41 points a game, some 500-plus yards since Terrence Levy has taken over this offense.
Because that young man doesn't drop any ball.
With the legacy that you started here, you got to feel happy to see it continue on with Doug Williams.
Ball now back at the 22-yard line. Levy, no pressure at all. Touchdown, Ingram. The Bayou Classic. Levy on a first and goal play. Throws a touchdown. Grambling comes with a blitz. Levy steps in the pocket, and his pass is caught. One-handed grab.
Sort of in the middle of the road of the SWAC, but immediately they jump on the Jackson State defense. And here's Levy rolling out. And the pass is caught. Ball is at the 31-yard line. Again throwing the football downfield. Oh, and his receiver, Hayes, makes the catch. See you later. Touchdown, Southern. If you're going to get, I got some free tickets. Look out for it, brother. Going downfield. Oh, and what a play by Southern.
Score. He's played a lot tougher ever since. And this is a free play for Southern.
2nd and 15.
It's a free play.
Levy completes his
It's
pass.
a free play.
Oh, and he's still up.
It's a free play.
Hayes is going to continue running inside the 10, the 5. Unbelievable, Michael Hayes. 3rd down. And 23 for a first. Levy over the middle. Nice pass that time. 2nd and 20. Levy doesn't have to get it all, but he's going to have to pick up some yards. Here he is throwing. Nice catch made.
The receiver, Michael Hayes. There he goes.
Hayes makes the catch. Hayes still on his feet. Hayes looking for blocking. Hayes trying to find a hole. Hayes is still on his feet. He alley-oops. He's inside the 15 and drawn out of foul.
Touchdown.
Backfield. Plenty of time for Levy across the middle. Has his man at the 15. I don't know if you want to break the spirit of Terrence Levy or not. Here he wings one wide open down the middle, and a one-handed grab made.
The way. 3rd down in 4. And here's Lewis off the catch. Lewis still on his feet, and Lewis is streaking down the sideline. Touchdown. So they move back.
All right, we are back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. I am Perry White. Good to have you guys with us this morning. Interesting conversation. We're talking about the world of the transfer portal because it's all over the place. You can't help but see it if you're a football fan, right? It is everywhere. Got my man Blue, Zach McKenna from FCS Football Central. Good morning, Blue.
Good morning, man.
Good morning, everybody out there on Talk 107.3. Good morning to everybody listening and watching us on our YouTube channel and everybody on our Facebook Live. Listen, Celebration Bowl was last week. Jackson State dominates South Carolina State. Let me ask you real quick, were you surprised at the fact of how Jackson State's defense came in and really suppressed Eric Phoenix, Caden High, and that high-powered South Carolina State offense?
I mean, a little bit. I mean, because it was just so dominant, right, Perry? Now, I'm not surprised on how their defensive line played. I mean, Perry, all year long, all I've talked about is how good those two defensive tackles are in True Thompson and Jeremiah Williams, man. And they just dominated the line of scrimmage. And also, too, I really liked how aggressive that Quinn played, made this defensive game plan because the biggest thing with Eric Phoenix is you can't let him catch a rhythm, and you can't let him be comfortable in the pocket. And immediately you saw them bring Esaias on the downhill blitz. They were really creative with their stunts up front and bringing pressure in creative ways and really making Eric Phoenix uncomfortable in the pocket. The thing I was a little bit surprised about was, I mean, listen, man, their secondary has been really good, but it was how physical their secondary was in this game, Perry. And it's because South Carolina State didn't have a lot of size in the receiving room. I think it was Justin Brown-Smith, I want to say, is the biggest guy. He's probably 6'2", 6'3", but you look at Robert McDaniel, you look at Esaias, you look at Day Bright, you look at some of these guys they had. They were just so physical with them at the line of scrimmage that I think it really bothered South Carolina State's wide receivers, Perry, which led to drops and them being late on routes because I think they heard footsteps. They were trying to avoid contact, and Jackson did a great job of just disrupting the entire offensive flow for South Carolina State. Because, Perry, I think me and you both kind of knew South Carolina State wasn't going to run the ball very much just because it's hard to run against this Jackson team with how athletic their linebackers are and how big and dominant they are on the defensive line. But, yeah, I mean, for Jackson to dominate the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball and to do it, Perry, with some injuries, right? They lose Kurt Ford mid-game, which is arguably their best, one of their best offensive linemen. They just insert a freshman, they guard, and don't miss a beat on the offensive line. And for Jacoby and Morgan to answer the bell after being benched the week before and throw for 2 touchdowns and be accurate and be decisive with the football and his decision-making, man, I thought it was a all-around dominant performance by Jackson, man. And I'm not super surprised, man. I predicted them to win 10 games this year in the regular season. Before the year, they were my pick to get out of the SWAC East. But, man, the way they dominated this year, man, was super impressive. And you got to give a lot of credit to T.C. Taylor and that coaching staff.
Definitely do. Let's go to the phone line real quick. We got Chris. Good morning, Chris. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's going on, Blue? How y'all doing this morning?
Doing good. How you doing? Right. Good to hear your voice.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to be brief this morning. I got a late start. But, Perry, I want you and Blue to look up Coach Eddie Robinson 1984 speech, if you hadn't already, to a congressional subcommittee on the television package that was about to come. And Eddie Robinson sounded like a prophet. He predicted all of this paying players. He predicted everything about it and how it was going to change the landscape. He was speaking on behalf of the 1AA schools and those that were like and how they were getting cut out of all the TV money. But if y'all just look that up and read that, it will give you an insight into what Coach Eddie Robinson saw 40 years ago when he saw this coming. And I'll just call you next week and talk to you, Barry.
Yes, sir. I'll check that out. You know, Blue, we talking about that and what this world looks like today. Bill Belichick going to North Carolina and basically what coaches didn't realize, he was going around case studying and put together basically the Bible of what he feel like how college football athletics should be and basically going to turn North Carolina into like this farm league to head into the NFL. Your thoughts real quick. We got about a minute.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think college football is more like professional sports today, and I think I think Bill Belichick's an interesting case study. If he's successful, I could see more college football programs going the NFL route to bring it because you need that more of a GM role as a head coach now than ever before.
And that's going to be interesting because once again, we still got Alabama A&M out there with no head coach. I heard opportunities of different people. Who do you think A&M is going to get? Who do you think going to end up at Huntsville with the Bulldogs?
I think they're making a big swing at Chennis Berry, but I just don't see that happening. I think it's going to be Sam Shade as the head coach of Alabama A&M if I had to put my money on it.
What about Fred McNair? What would you think with Fred McNair at Alabama A&M?
I wouldn't hate it. I liked Fred McNair there more than I did when he was rumored to go to the Texas schools. But I think Fred McNair's might be a fallback option there if Sam Shade or one of their other top targets falls through. But I think you're going to hear McNair's name linked to every job, just like I've heard his name linked with Valley because of the Mississippi ties. So I just think until Fred McNair gets a head coaching job, Perry, he's going to be a top candidate for every single SWAC opening until he becomes a head coach again.
Blue, man, great show today, man. Great conversation. Glad to have you on, man. Let everybody know where they can keep up with you and follow you, because I'm pretty sure you picked up a lot of fans today, man, from right here in the Baton Rouge area, man. Let the people know where they can keep up with you, and whether they LSU, Southern, BRCC, or SWAC, or MEAC, it don't matter. Blue, let them know.
Yeah, man. You can find me on social media at McKinnell, @the_Blue Bloods. The Blue Bloods on YouTube, all podcast streaming platforms, man, and FCS Football Central on si.com/college/FCS. And then on Sunday mornings, man, with my guy Perry White, as we chop it up about all things college football, man. But again, Perry, I appreciate you for inviting me on here, man. I had a blast.
Man, hey, look, it's always a good conversation, because I like to have conversation with folks who know what they talking about. And Blue, I must admit, man, your credential, baby. You know what you're talking about, man. And thank you for coming on this morning, Blue.
Absolutely, man. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Merry Christmas to you, man. All right, how long we got, Mike, before we out of here? 30. Once again, Merry Christmas to everybody out there, man. Let's remember we are a community. Let's love each other. Whether you got somebody or you don't, man, let's make sure we have that holiday spirit. Once again, like I said in the beginning of the show, give the kids, don't worry about giving the kids the things that you didn't have. Worry about giving them the things that you did have, so they can learn how to be appreciative and thankful for the basic things in life. Because right now we got a society that's out there with a bunch of entitled, bratty kids that don't really understand and appreciate how and what it means to go out and work hard, and to appreciate what it means to spend your hard-earned money. Let's teach these kids, because ask them teachers who at home over the Christmas break who glad to have your kids back at home with you. The teachers will tell you what kind of kids y'all out there raising. So it's happy holidays. Merry Christmas to you guys. I hope everybody stays safe no matter where you at. If Christmas just another day to you, then I hope you have a great day. And if it's Christmas or Feliz Navidad, whatever the case may be, I hope you guys have a good time. Spend time with your loved ones. Love them up. But most of all, once again, it takes a village to raise a child. Let's make sure we get back to a village. It ain't always sticking a phone, an iPad, a game, some form of technology. Spend time with your kids. Have them read books. Do assignments. Send them outside. Go run and fall. Scrape your arm. Realize what life is like, because it ain't always sitting back easy watching social media. And biggest thing of all, life ain't everything that you see on social media. It ain't always pretty. It's okay to fail. Learn from your failure. Let's teach these kids that failure is a part of life. You just got to learn from it. You got to get better, and you got to understand how to be able to persevere through no matter what kind of tough times happen. These kids got to be taught what's tough. You can fail. You'll be able to succeed. Let's make sure we do that over the holiday while we spend time with our kids, while we spend time with our family. Let's give them the attention that they need. Let's show them attention, and let's teach them something that's going to help them be beneficial in life, instead of allowing social media and the internet to teach them. All right, I love you guys. I'll be back next week at the same time in the same place. Thank you. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. It's the Jaguar Journal. Have a good one. What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal.